Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me in this new episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about getting started with resistance training, or even if you are already doing resistance training, which is great. This episode will help you to understand if you're doing the right things, if you are really making sure that you're getting most out of your workout sessions, or maybe there are some things that you could tweak. Because if you spend a lot of times doing the exercises that don't really give you much, or you're always rushing through your workouts, you are not really getting what you could be getting out of your workouts. So hopefully this episode will help you today with that. And also, if you're totally new to working out, you're either totally new or there has been a long break, a long time since you worked out, this episode will absolutely help you as well. I understand that it can be super confusing to know what to do next. And some people who are new to my Fit and Fuel Facebook group also have told me that they joined because they want to learn more about exercise. What are the things that they should be doing because they don't know how to get started? There are so many options out there. You could be going to bootcamp class, you could go into a spin class, you can go to a yoga class. So where the heck should you start? And if you choose resistance training, strength training, which I think should be your number one goal, really, then where do you even start? So these are all the things that we're going to cover today. And I was thinking, what would be my today's life update if I have one? And I couldn't think of anything super big. I just recently told you about my recent trip to California. So this was awesome. And I have another one coming up to Mexico very soon again for part 2 of my dental surgery, which I already told you about in one of the previous episodes. Other than that, it's December. It's hopefully getting a little bit more kind of quiet towards the end of the year. Definitely, I like that time a lot when it's kind of more like relaxed and chill and things kind of slow down a little bit. And I think it's really great. It's kind of like a time, when also the nature just kind of slows down a little bit. You see nature everywhere, and it's so interesting. So one day I had a one-on-one coaching session, training session with one of my clients, and we're doing personal training together. And she's a client that I used to train in person before I moved. And now we're still doing the workouts just over Zoom. And she told me that, you know what, my chickens are really quiet this time of the year. And I was thinking, oh, why is that? So I think she has 6 chickens, and they're often pretty loud. She works out outside and we can hear them. And she said, yeah, they're kind of quiet. They always slow down a little bit, around, late November till December. And they actually stop laying eggs too. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is so awesome. I feel like, animals know and birds know and nature knows that it's time to slow down sometimes and take it easier. It's not always a time to hustle, 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 work hard, never stop. But us humans kind of don't get it, right? We are still always in like 24/7. We're in this big hustle mode, and we just think that we always have to push harder. We always have to do more. So what if we give ourselves this permission to slow down a little bit? And I think the end of the year is perfect timing for that, when I just feel like in my body that things are slowing down, nature slowing down. Of course, in many places getting really cold. There's so many signs in nature, the leaves, are gone, and it's just, snow and ice and all that. So everything's a sign of slowing down. If we as humans could do that a little bit more, to live a little bit more in sync with nature, I think we would do better. And you probably have noticed this yourself too, when days get shorter and there's less light outside, you maybe want to go to bed a little bit earlier. You maybe find that you want to eat warmer foods. This is totally normal, and don't fight it, don't resist it. Don't make yourself stay up longer because you still have some things to do. There's always some things to do, but maybe we can just slow down a little bit more and learn from nature and learn from those chickens that my client told me about, because I think this was so awesome. It's like a perfect example of how nature knows what to do. It's just us humans who have created so much stuff that we think that we have to stay on top of everything all of the time, and we just can't let some of the things go. And if you are also an entrepreneur, maybe you work for yourself, then I know I feel you when you are maybe thinking that you're never doing enough. And when you are working for yourself, you're never going to run out of things to finish job, never going to run out of things to complete. So sometimes you just have to tell yourself, okay, here's the hard stop. I'm going to make myself stop here. This can wait till tomorrow. This can wait till next week. I don't have to get back to this person right this second. It's okay. People can wait. And just give yourself this permission, give yourself a little bit room. I think it's sometimes important to get that permission from somebody else, because we are doing a pretty bad job at giving it to ourselves. So these are my 2 cents today about, not really a life update, just an observation that I think all of us would benefit from. All right. Moving on to today's topic, and that is how to create an effective workout plan, what to include. We're also going to talk about what movements are important. We're going to talk about body weight exercise versus then weights. We're also going to talk about repetitions, how many you should do, how many workouts a week you should be doing, and so on and so on. And this is really, like I said, it's a good resource for beginners. It's also a good resource for those who have maybe had a little break, and also for those of you who are already working out, because sometimes even though we are working out, we may not be doing everything the best way, the way that benefits us the most. So I hope that today's episode will help out all of you a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about the foundation, and let's first discuss whether you should be working out with body weight or weights. And this is often a question that beginners ask. And I will say, if you are a total beginner and you haven't moved your body in ages, other than maybe a little bit of walking, totally fine to start with body weight. Go back to basics, do some squats, do some lunges, do some, very simple planks, learn to do a push-up. You can, of course, do a push-up on a, elevated surface so that your hands are maybe on a desk or a table, right? So you bring the floor, so to speak, closer to you. But the thing with body weight is that you are going to do that for a little while, but it's hard to progress big time, right? So of course there are ways to progress. You could always do like single leg squats, and you could always work your way up to pull-ups. But how many of us actually are strong enough to do a single leg squat, especially if you're just if you just are getting started with working out, or just starting to use your body in a way that allows you to do a proper squat. Of course, we can always do more repetitions. We can start with 10 squats and then 15 and then 20 squats. But then there's a big gap between that and then single leg squats, right? So the same thing with hands elevated push-ups. Of course, we can do them against the wall and eventually do them on the floor. This is nice. But from there, for example, to go up to a pull-up, there's another big leap, right? So the problem with body weight is that you're going to hit a certain level pretty quickly where you're like, okay, what am I going to do next? It is harder to progress versus with weights. For example, with dumbbells or barbells, it is relatively easy. You can always add 2.5 pounds. You can always add 5 pounds. So you can keep progressing relatively easily. So even if you are a total beginner and you are really getting started with just some squats and just some push-ups and planks, then I would say after maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks of practicing these things and everything is going well, then you have to find yourself some weights, either start lifting weights at home or go to the gym. Do not be intimidated of the gym. People at the gyms are not generally judgmental or anything like that. They're welcoming and open to help. Usually the more experience they have, the longer they have been there, the more open they are to help you too. So please try to be relaxed about it and go to the gym without thinking that people don't like you or people will make fun of you. This is hardly ever the case at all. So let's say that now you are at the gym and now you are getting started with proper resistance training using some dumbbells and barbells. And of course there are a lot of machines too at the gym, but my recommendation is that if your body allows, please get started with dumbbells or even a barbell, even if you use just a plain barbell and no plates added to it, versus using a lot of machines. Of course, machines have their benefits. There are some machines that I also use quite a bit, but I think that dumbbells and barbells, which are known as the free weights, are always more important and give you better results than machines do. And the reason is that you just move your body more. You go through fuller, bigger ranges of motion when you do a squat, for example, when you press something overhead. The weights are also unstable. You have to stabilize your shoulders. You have to move your body more like natural ways compared to, for example, a machine that's very set, that like moves in one kind of trajectory. So your body is following the machine's trajectory. So this is not, it's not a bad thing, but it's not the most natural way of moving. And also, for example, when we compare a squat with dumbbells or with barbell, we compare that with leg press, for example. There's so much more stability that is involved in a squat versus leg press. And of course, the more stability you have to use, the more smaller muscle you use, the better balance you develop, the stronger you also get. So my preference is always that. There are exceptions, of course, and you may know or you may not know. I don't know if you follow me or not on social media, but I have shared that right now I'm actually doing a workout program that is more like machine focused, but also I'm going to understand that I am more advanced, right? So I can do this. I already have very good mobility. I have done most workout plans that I've ever done have been free weights, barbells, dumbbells. So interrupting that with a little bit of like a 3-month period of more added machine work, it's not going to be harmful or bad for me. It's not going to be harmful or bad for anybody, but it's just, you just get more out of your body's natural movement, and you develop it a little bit more when you are using free weights. Okay, so free weights over machines is my general recommendation. Now, what kind of exercises should you then do? I always tell everybody to focus on the 5 primary major lifts that will be most beneficial for you. And every workout should have at least 2 of them in your routine, sometimes even 3. You don't have to do all 5 every single time. In fact, I think that would be a little bit too taxing for your body, but 2 or 3 every time. So what are those movements then? First of all, the squat, right? Everything that I'm going to mention here can be done with dumbbells or barbell. So squat, deadlift, overhead press, bench press, and a row. Okay, so these 5 should really be the foundation of your resistance training workouts. And when you include at least 2 of them in every single one of your workouts, you're going to get way stronger than you ever would had you done, used a lot of machines or done with just body weight exercises. So these 5 are your foundation. And generally speaking, I recommend that you have about 5 to 8 exercises per workout. And of course, this is very general advice. I can't do an episode where I'm going over like every single detail and every single different case, because that would take a lot of time. And this is very specific, because there are times where you will only do 3 exercises per workout. And I do have some people in my private coaching program that work out this way for one reason or another. But generally speaking, I'm saying very generally speaking, most of your workouts are good if they have 5 to 8 movements in it. So let's say that you now picked 2 of those 5 that I mentioned. You're going to do overhead press and the deadlift, for example. So you already have 2. And now you're going to add maybe 3 to 5 more. And that's then going to be 3 to 6 more. And this is going to be your workout. So what can you then add? Ideally, I would like you to do full body workouts. So if you can do those 2 or 3 days a week, this is going to be great for a beginner. So let's say we have a day where we do an overhead press and then the deadlift, and then we're going to add 3 to 5, 6 things to these. So what are some of the good exercises that hit big muscle groups and then also develop your full body? Well, of course, we're going to hit the legs. We can do some walking lunges and some goblet squats, for example. These are for the legs. Then for the upper body would be, for example, lateral raise. It's going to develop your shoulders. We already did a shoulder press. And then we can add some smaller movements. For example, we can do some bicep curls or tricep, the rope pull down or kickbacks, something a little bit smaller too. And this is your workout. It's literally, deadlift, overhead press, walking lunges, goblet squats, lateral raises, bicep curl, or tricep kickback. So this is a simple example of a workout that's going to hit your body, everything in your body. And the reason why I recommend full body workouts is that if you are only working out twice a week, you're a beginner, maybe this is a good starting point for you. There's no point for you to do a split workout, which is like, okay, I'm doing lower body now and upper body now the other day. So you want to do full body, so everything gets touched a little bit, and then you do the same thing again later that week. Or you can also do 3 workouts like that. I personally don't tell anybody to do split training, which is upper and then lower split, unless they do at least 4 workouts a week. 3 workouts a week, full body always. And this is how you put these workouts together. Focus on the first 5, right? Pick your 2, 3 for the workout and then add in something else. And then stick with this program for a little while. Don't change it for, let's say, 4 weeks and then change it. Don't jump to a new program and then don't start mixing things up too soon. Your body needs to learn the movements and you have to get stronger that way. Okay, so this was a quick example workout. Like I said, it's not for anybody specifically. If you have any like certain issues or certain things that you have to pay attention to, of course, this has to be individualized for you, but this is an example for you. So now you've gotten started with your strength training workout. Now the question, of course, is how many repetitions should I then do? Well, this is, again, a little bit different for everybody, but I would say that do something that you are not used to. So there are so many rep ranges that build muscle and get you stronger. And it can literally even be 1 rep. I know it can be very hard to believe for beginners, but also for those who have done this for a while, but are maybe used to a little bit more like higher rep range. They're like, why would I ever do 1 rep? Well, 1 rep also can be very, very good tool to build strength, maximum strength, right? So some workouts, workout phases are ones where your big lifts are only going to be 1 to 3 reps. Let's go back to that deadlift and overhead press example. Maybe you just do 1 or maybe you do 3 and then you rest. You have to rest and get your energy back up, get your ATP recovered, and then you're going to do the same thing again, right? So 1 to 3, this is one potential rep range. Another one would be something between 5 to 8, for example. So you can do most of your exercise in that range. Another one could be from 8 to 12, which is probably the most common because a lot of people like to do 10 reps of everything all the time. And then there's also 12 to 20, 12 to 15, or even 20. So this rep range also builds muscle. But of course, you got to realize that when your reps are lower, then your weights are going to be heavier. If you're only lifting doing 1 rep of deadlift, then that's going to be a heavy one. And it's not going to be the same weight that you're going to use for 20 reps, because for 20 reps, you're not going to be able to lift that same weight, right, for 20 times that you did 1 rep with. So now think, where am I right now? What do I naturally gravitate towards? And what do I typically do? Like I say, most people do that 10 reps over and over again. It's always the same 10 reps. Well, what if now you are going to try that 5 to 8 rep range and you're going to do, let's say, 5 or 6 reps of deadlifts, 5 or 6 reps of overhead presses. And then you're going to do a cycle of where you are mostly doing this number of reps, right? If you are somebody who's always in this like a very low rep range, which for those who are kind of a little bit addicted to strength numbers, they want to see just how strong they are, they tend to be, between those 1 and 5 reps all the time. This is how they train. They always push the strength. But they would now benefit from something a little bit more cardiovascular or endurance-based, which would be that 12 to 15 rep range. So see where are you mostly being, and then go in the complete opposite direction and see how your body responds. You're probably going to get great results. However, if you are a total beginner, then that 10 reps is a perfect rep range for you. Start there. Anything between 8 to 12 reps, do that for about 1 month, and then move on to different rep range. This is how you get results, but don't mix things up sooner than, let's say, a month, right? And now, one thing to also know when we talk about those really low reps is that there are certain exercises that don't work too well at all, in those like 1 to 5 rep range. For example, smaller muscles such as biceps or triceps, it does not make any sense to do 1 triceps kickback or 1 bicep curl. So for smaller muscles like that, it's much better to still keep the repetitions higher. But when we talk about the big 5, the overhead press, bench press, squat, deadlift in a row, absolutely helpful to do 1 to 5 reps sometimes and see how much strength you really have and where you max out. All right, so we talked about the rep range, and then also the next thing to talk about how many sets. So what is a set? Set is, of course, the amount of, 1 set is that 8 reps that you're doing. This is the 1 set, and then you're going to do that multiple times. So generally speaking, I will say that about 3 sets is perfect for you. Let's say you start with an overhead press. You're going to do 10 repetitions because you're a beginner, and then you're going to press that up 10 times, then you're going to rest. and this was your first set, and you're going to repeat that a couple more times. So here's your second set, you're going to do 10 reps again, and here's your third set, you're going to do 10 reps again, and then you're going to move on to the next exercise. I don't want you to generally do things in a circuit fashion because they tend to be very quick switches from one exercise to another, barely any rest. It's like go, 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 go. No, let's do what is known as straight sets. And of course, there are some options here too. It's not always exactly like that. There are some cases where you may do some supersets, you may do some trisets, sometimes occasionally you may throw in a circuit, whatever. But most of the time, I encourage you to do straight sets, which means you're going to do one exercise, you finish all the sets, and then you're going to move on to the next one. The next important thing that we have to talk about is that how long should you rest then? And this is a biggie for a lot of women who are used to moving from one exercise to another very, very fast. What I encourage you to do is to rest at least a minute between your sets, right? So going back to that overhead press example, you're going to press that weight overhead, 10 repetitions, and then you're going to sit down and do freaking nothing. Like you have to do nothing. You can walk a couple of steps, stretch if you need. Okay, that's fine. But you're not going to do burpees between the sets. You're not going to, do another exercise. Rest is for resting. And this is so that you can recover, you can get your energy back up, and then you can go again. Because if you don't rest, you can't lift the same weight up again. And you're going to be weaker, and you're not going to get the benefits that you really want to get out of it. And, this is so common to do those circuit trainings where the heart rate is constantly elevated. It's always up. We're always going on to the next exercise really quick without recovering properly. And this is, you guys, this is not how you get the best results you could be getting. You could be getting because you are going to be so exhausted. Your only focus is going to be burning. Your only focus is going to be how many calories did I burn and how much I sweat. And this is not how you get results. I can promise you, every time I change somebody from this type of circuit training, or how I like to call it circus training, to more straight sets, I hear like in 3-4 weeks that people are telling me, I'm getting so much stronger and I see my muscle definition now. This change is pretty sudden. And it will happen. You just have to trust this. So if you are constantly stuck in this circus mode, then you got to get out of it and start doing straight sets and challenge yourself with weights and rest at least a minute. Now, there is a time and place, of course, also for 3 to 5 minutes. And I know that this can totally blow people's minds. They're like, what are you telling me? I'm going to sit down and do nothing for 3 minutes. And yes, this is exactly. And this is more appropriate for times when you're lifting really extremely heavy. You're like close to like maxing out. Maybe you're doing like 2 extremely heavy reps, and then you're going to sit down and you're going to need that 3 minutes. If you have ever tried to push yourself on a very, very high or heavy deadlift, you know that you're actually going to need that three minutes if you want to lift that weight up again. But if you are not doing that, then you're going to, you're not going to be able to lift it again. And, to some extent, it's normal. You're getting tired anyway, say it's your 4th set already. Of course, you may have to take some plates off. Cool. But if you didn't rest for 3 minutes, then, don't be surprised that you cannot lift it up. So make sure that you rest enough. And I would say minimum really is the minute, and time yourself if you need to. Time yourself if you know that you're otherwise tempted to rush to the next exercise really quickly. So I hope that this covered most of the things that you need to know when you are new to exercise, or you're just restarting your exercise and you don't know quite, what am I supposed to do here? There's so much confusion. So let me go these things over for you. And by the way, I also have a totally free example workout in my Fit and Fueled Facebook group. So please join the group. The show notes have the link, and also Instagram has the link, YouTube has the link as well. And get in there and send me a message in there. Tell me, hey, I want that free workout, and I will point you in the right direction. I will tag you where you can find that, and try that workout out a couple of times and tell me how you're feeling and how you're getting stronger, because I know that you will get stronger. All right, so I want to go over everything that we talked about real quick one more time. So body weight versus weights. You can start with body weight if you're totally new, and then progress into weight training, because it's so much harder to get stronger and add weights when you are lifting barbells or dumbbells. Then the next thing is, yes, prefer free weights over machine exercises, generally better for you if your body allows. And if it doesn't allow, if you don't have the range of motion, then you just have to put in some time and effort and to do more mobility work so that you can start using these tools. The next thing is what kind of exercises to do then? Well, there were 5 foundational lifts, and at least 2, if not 3, should be in your routine every time. And I already mentioned several times what those exercises are. And then you're going to add in, say, 3 to 5 additional exercises so that you're going to hit all the muscles in your body. So it's going to be a full body workout. And we're going to do that type of full body workout 2 to 3 times a week. And I didn't mention that before, but make sure that you have at least one rest day between, especially if you're new to lifting, because you're going to get sore. I know you're going to get sore. And then lastly, we talked about 2 things: how many repetitions should you do and what should the rest look like. So repetitions, they can be anywhere between, say, 1 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 12, and then 12 to 20, and choose the rep range that you are not used to, so that you are sending your body a little bit different signals, something that it is not used to. And if you are a newbie and you haven't done anything, start with 10 reps. Start with 10 reps. And then lastly, rest at least 1 minute before moving on to the next set. I hope this helped you out, and hopefully this was beneficial. So get started with resistance training. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to be very, very beneficial for you in so many ways. And it's going to make your life better. It's going to make your life easier. You're going to be more independent. Just today, I found a really cool post on Instagram that showed how somebody who had started lifting at the age of 50 has tremendously increased their bone density, which is awesome. And especially us as women have to keep that in mind, because once we hit menopause, our bone density starts to decline pretty quickly. So the only way to really keep that up, of course, healthy diet, yeah, that's great, but I would not look towards medication if we can have much better effects through strength training. And to me, honestly, this is not even an option. Am I going to lift weights? Am I not going to lift weights? This is something I have to do. This is our personal responsibility that we have to take if we want to have a strong and healthy life. And of course, strong, healthy bones, strong, healthy muscles are always a part of it. All right. Thank you so much for listening to my thoughts today. Make sure that you join my Fit and Fuel Facebook group. Thanks again, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.